What is your name and what is your role in Electric Citizen?
My name is Dolan, and I am the guitar player.
How would you describe your band and your music to someone who's never heard it before?
Oh, I've gotten this one before. This is a tricky one. I would describe my band as a band that is influenced by 70s music, but we like to have a bit of a modern take on it. So we have a bit of our own vibe to it, but definitely keeping in the roots of an old school rock and roll sound. Because that's the stuff we love.
How did Electric Citizen find each other, get involved as a band, and get started?
We've all known each other for a while. In our music scene in Ohio, in Cincinnati, Ohio, is a small one. So, for instance, the drummer and I, we were in a band before this band, so we met there. And then our bass player is actually new. So our old bass player, who we started the band with, I was also in a band with him before. Laura and I are married, and I kind of just kicked her in the butt. Like I start singing. Like let's just have some fun. And so it just kind of comes about, kind of simple like that. We've just all known each other, and when I formed this band, it was just pretty easy. The drummer, I really enjoyed playing with him when we were in a band together, and the same with the bass player. And then, of course, having my wife with me is great. We're not spending long periods of time without seeing each other on the road.
So you described it kind of as coming together fairly easy.
Yeah.
Is that how you'd say finding that 70s influenced but modern take style?
Well,
how did that come about?
Well, I was actually, that's a good question. We have a band in Cincinnati that did pretty well, and they were called the Greenhorns, and they, I'm pretty sure they toured the world with like the White Stripes and stuff like that. The singer, his name is Craig Fox. He had started like a heavy project similar to us, and I was really inspired by that. And I wasn't. I don't think I was in a band at that point. I was just kind of goofing off, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of took his idea in a way. And maybe not, I didn't take it, but maybe like just it inspired me.
Yeah, it was an influence.
Yeah, and so I wanted to kind of do that, and so that the idea, I would say, came from just being inspired by another friend that's a musician, and as it should be, as all art is. I feel like it's inspiration. A lot of things inspire me. I work a part-time job when I get home. And it's really lame work, and so in a way, even something like that is inspiring. Like, can I get out of how do I get out of this? Like, so I got to sit down and play more and more guitar. So hopefully I can get out of this job, and I can just play my guitar all day long instead of going to work. So it's just that simple as well.
What have you learned about your group dynamic from being on the road so much?
That's a good question too. Definitely have learned how to treat each other, and it's not that we didn't treat each other well, but when you're literally like 2 feet away from each other at all times, like just having like a good common respect, will go a long way with touring in any band, because almost every band, including our band at times, is on the verge of breaking up. Because it's hard, it's not easy, especially a smaller band like us, just being so close to each other. But I'd say that's probably one of the most valuable lessons is treating each other really well, and, just not being an asshole.
How do you make the stage your own with a live performance?
I'd say like. Just really giving it hell up there when we're doing it. Just really trying to take the moment and give it the best we got. Feeding off each other is another one. Like Laura, our singer, she has great energy. Maybe I look over at our bass player Randy, and he's headbanging really hard, and it's just like, all right, yeah, time to step it up.
Yeah. What's the difference between opening and playing your own show as a headline act?
When you're opening for a band, you're gonna play in front of a lot more people because you're playing in front of their crowd, with the hopes to win some new fans over. Headlining, you're gonna make a little bit more money on your own, because it's more about you, as it should be for any headlining act. It should be about them. There's a bit more pressure to perform, like as a headliner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we really gotta like take this seriously because people are here to see us this time around, where sometimes you can kind of get away with a little sloppiness here and there as an opener. No one's going to judge you that hard because they weren't there to see you in the first place, or maybe just a couple of them were there to see you, so just definitely like headlining is a much more serious kind of vibe. You play last in the United States, shows go on much later.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot harder because you're not getting out of a club until like 1:30 or something, where it's I like these kind of shows because they're over early. It's not super late when we're out of here. We're usually in a hotel and it's like maybe midnight, 12:30, and I can still get a good night rest. And it's less sitting around. That's the other headlining thing. It's like, because your nerves can get to you, You're just sitting there like, oh, when are we going on? When is this? Is the other band play? I don't know. And it's just like, oh, what time is it?
With all that in mind, this is your first time here in the UK.
Yes.
Welcome, first of all.
Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah.
And how has that experience been for you? Did you have expectations beforehand? How's that compared?
I love it over here, honestly. It's really cool. The United States is a relatively new country, so things aren't ancient like they are here. I mean, everything is like so old, and you see castles and stuff. There's no castles in the United States. I love the history over here. The people are much nicer. No offense, United States. The shows are great. I mean, the crowds, like I mentioned earlier, we really got to like win them over because they don't know who we are. I mean, we'll finish a song, we'll hear an applause, and it's like 3 seconds, boom, dead silence. It's like, all right, God damn it. All right, what we got next? Okay, here's the next one and the next one. So it's so as I mentioned earlier, it's inspiring in a way to play really strong and tight as a band to win these folks over, and we've been doing a great job at it. We've been pleasantly surprised, meeting people. We like to stand by the merch towards the end of the night and just meet people, and a lot of and everyone's been just so nice. It's really refreshing, So I love it over here. I really have nothing bad to say. I don't have any complaints or griping or anything like that. So
that's good.
Good to hear. I can't wait to be back, honestly.
Oh yeah, well, performing your own headline shows, hopefully.
That would be cool. Yeah.
What do you love most about playing live shows?
Just the energy, turning people on. I love entertaining people. It's a blast, especially if you have a really good show and people are telling you that was a great show and they're really happy, and it's nice to make people happy. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters. Is art. I believe art is for people. It's not for me. It's if you have a gift, then it's up to you to give your gift to people. And I'm not saying I'm some brilliant gifted musician, but we're here, and that's what we like. And I think I can speak for the whole band when I say that. It's just it's about them. I want people to be happy in life. When people are happy in life, life is much better. And so that's how I feel about that one. So.
And of course, in turn, because this is what you want to do, it makes you happy.
Exactly, yeah. And if people are happy, then I'm happy, I mean, it's just that easy, just positive energy can go a long way, and that's what it's all about.
Can you tell me a bit about the songwriting process for you, especially in relation to the new record you've got coming out?
Sure, yeah. For me, any kind of like songwriting is, I love to be alone. Being alone is crucial for me. I have at our house we have our upstairs is just a loft space, just a big open room, and that's where I go. And it's not, there's nothing like too romantic about my answer, but I just go up there and it's just nice and peaceful, and I can just kind of just live in the moment and try to like let the sounds come through me, and so I can convey it through my music, and that's basically the process, and it's fun too because I can just play guitar all day anyway. So like just sitting up there and writing is my favorite part of it. Like writing new music is the best, because it's like putting together a puzzle. You know, you'll have pieces of things, and then you finding the other pieces for them to fit in is always fun for me. I think I'm just that kind of a person. I like just putting pieces together, and that's it. And I bring it to the band, and sometimes things come together a little bit differently. And maybe it's because of a mess up or something. Maybe the drummer misses the beat and stops, but he stops perfectly to where you're like, hold on, we're going to keep that stop in there, and then we're going to go back into the verse or something, you know. So it's there's a couple different processes. So you have me bringing a foundation to the band, and then the band kind of like digesting it and just kind of like cramming it into our heads and remembering it. And then it gets slightly molded from there, especially in like the drums, and then usually when we got something pretty solid, that's when we use this fancy recorder, and she'll listen to this over and over again, come up with melodies and her words, and then once we put that in, it really makes the song feel like it's coming to a head, and that's what it's all about, you know. And then from there, it just gets, you know, molded to be even tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, and adding fun things like stops. Love stops to our music. Wolfmother does a lot of stops, and I love that, because you just really just boom, drop it and then start it again, you know. I love that stuff. So yeah, that's like the process for us pretty much.
What kind of guidance did Brian bring to the recording process? Well, all of the recording processes you guys have embarked upon together.
Well, Brian has like a great ear. I mean, he's been doing it for so long. I mean, from the Greenhorns to Soledad Brothers, and then starting his own side project, Brian Olive, which is on Alive Records, and then from there going from, you know, working with Dan Auerbach and the Black Keys to Dr. John, and the list kind of goes on for him. But he's just you just always trust him, because when he has an idea and you know put that idea into your music, whether it's like, instead of going with this melody, how it kind of trails off, let's kind of like do it and just stop it right there, you know. It's just little tightenings in the studio, or you know, or for instance, like guitar solos. Like I'm a bit of a wild player. Not that like I'm amazing. I can just get all just like crazy and play. And he's got great guidance for that. He'll be like, you know, take that wildness and add it towards the end of your solo, and start off your solo not so wild, and then go into the wild. You know, and it's just little stuff like that. Just little craft. He's a good person that can take something and make it great, you know, just by just turning just a few screws, you know, so to speak, and that's why we trust him for that stuff. And he gets great sounds out of his studio, so we really like that, because we also want our albums to have a bit of an old sound, you know. So we record, you know, on analog tape, you know. All of our stuff is done that way. He's also great at percussion ideas, like you know, shakers, tambourines, maybe some bongos. Like he's just, his mind's always turn. When you work with him, it's always going. You know, sometimes you can hear him just like, oh, it's just, and you just know he's like remembering something that's gonna go into the song or something. You know, like I'm gonna do this part or the other. You just know. You just hear like maybe a little faint mumbling.
So yeah, from polishing to dynamics.
Yeah. We just trust him and enjoy working with him. I mean, that's all. You know, that's what you really need. I think in the studio, just someone that's not gonna just beat you down. That's gonna just be like calmly with you. You know, sometimes in the studio, your emotions can be kind of revving high, because you're like, I gotta play it perfect. It's gotta be perfect. You know, so you can kind of get riled up a little bit inside yourself. He's just a good calm energy. You know. You know, he's a friend, and then, yeah.
Compliments you well.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about the new album a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I was listening to some of the tracks that you've released earlier, since like Evil really kind of stood out to me.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about some of the, you know, influences you've had for this record and recording and
sure.
Or just yeah.
Yeah. So Evil was the first. I think was the second song off that we wrote for this record. That that was one that was I was definitely inspired by. We went on tour with this band in the States with this band called Fu Manchu, and I just love these kind of riffs, like in Evil. It's like dun, 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 dun. They have a lot of riffs that are similar to that. When we were on tour with them, I was just like, God, I love those riffs. And so I was definitely inspired by them as far as the riff goes. And then the big intro is more of like being inspired by Black Sabbath. I mean, that's a definite inspiration. And people seem to have a problem with bands being inspired by Black Sabbath for some reason. It's so strange. Like, you're not allowed to be inspired by Black Sabbath.
As if you're the first to do it,
yeah,
right?
I know. It's so strange. But another band that inspired me for this record was a band called Donova, and they're from Portland, Oregon. They're a great band. They're kind of doing an older sound as well. But just excellent guitar playing, and I enjoy listening to them, and they definitely inspired me, as well.
And what about that modern direction you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, and that's just, when I say that, it's just kind of, let's not get too caught in old. Let's try to bring a bit of a modern take into it. Maybe it's a bit of a different drum beat that would be less standard than just a normal maybe snare and hi-hats and something that would be more, that would take it more in an older direction. Let's do something different with the drums. Or we'll have a song like this song on our new album called Higher Time, which it's like let's just do something a little different that's not like the rest of the songs. It has a bit of a psychedelic twist to it, and we added a poem in the center of it. And in the keys are more of a synth style of keys versus, an organ, like a B3 Hammond organ sound. The first album has a lot of mellotron, like the flute mellotron, and which was inspired by the Beatles and stuff like that. But I just think just little things like that, to give it just a bit of a modern vibe, so you're not just always stuck in that era.
Yeah. So it's really, a unique sound for you guys.
Yeah, I think so. That's us. So.
Hey, and I think that's a great place to close it out. Yeah. Ross, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
All right, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys on stage later on.
Thank you.
All the best for the show.
Thank you, man.
Cheers.